SE16, your home for everything Ithaca and Nashville. It starts right now. Hello and welcome to a brand new edition of the SE16 podcast. I'm Matt Rahemba, and as always, I'm joined by Jonah Restuccio and Salty Steve Altieri. And today, we're lucky enough to be joined by Vanderbilt star pitcher Tyler Beede. Tyler, thank you so much for coming on the show.
No problem, guys. My pleasure.
So you're a highly sought-after prospect, and it's basically been like that your whole career. Just what's it been like dealing with, MLB scouts, just stuff like that going through your professional career?
Well, it's certainly unique. I mean, you go through it. Some kids are kind of open to it and exposed to it going through high school, sophomore, junior year high school, pitching in tournaments in the summer. So I think going through that process of being exposed at an early age has just kind of got me used to it coming into college, and kind of seeing the crowd and looking at scouts with their radar guns kind of raised up. So it's easy to block them out now, but it's a cool experience, and certainly something that kind of gets you excited for the next chapter of your life.
So what made you decide to go to Vanderbilt instead of signing with the Blue Jays organization when they drafted you in the first round?
Well, I mean, it was certainly a comfort level. When I came to Vanderbilt for my official visit and visits prior to that, I could kind of just see myself, being here for 3 to 4 years and kind of coming through this experience, because guys like David Price has gone here for 3 years, Sonny Gray, Mike Minor, Pedro Alvarez, guys like Ryan Flaherty. So big name prospects have come through here and have excelled and have gotten better coming to Vanderbilt University. So I knew that was the case, and obviously with the situation with the Blue Jays taking me in the first round, it was a difficult decision because there was a large sum of money on the table. But at the same time, I wanted to be loyal to my opportunity here at Vanderbilt and stick with Tim Corbin and come here knowing that I'd get better. And have that opportunity as well to get drafted after my junior year. So it was a difficult decision, but at the same time, I knew coming here would be better off for me after my baseball career is over, knowing that I have a Vanderbilt degree in my back pocket and the ability to kind of use these academics for my life after baseball, because baseball does end for most of us, either short term or long term. So it's all about preparing for your life after baseball.
Now, Tyler, what other colleges were you considering coming out of high school, and what made you choose the Commodores?
I was looking at, schools that had, the combination of the good academics and the good athletic programs. So schools like USC and Virginia were probably my top three, and LSU was like, when I was 15 or 16, it was like my dream school, but knowing that they didn't have the best academics, I didn't really, they were kind of a long four away. So coming to Vanderbilt, obviously Coach Corbin is a guy from New Hampshire, recruits a lot of Northeast guys. He's probably one of the best coaches in the country, the way he can, teach players things about life off the field and develop them on the field at the same time. But at the time they had a pitching coach named Derek Johnson, who's now with the Cubs, who had been here for 10 years and coached guys like David Price. So their tradition and the culture that they had established at Vanderbilt was very strong, and it was something I wanted to be a part of. At the same time, Nashville's an amazing area. It's a really fun city. You go downtown, there's a ton of great bars. You got great night scene and things like that. So, the girls aren't bad here.
That's always a plus.
and so it's a fun time. Yeah, it's a good time to be a kid for 3 more years, and that's kind of why I wanted to come to college too.
Now, you talked about Tim Corbin and just playing under him. Just what's it been like playing under a guy like him? He's such a historic coach. So what's that whole experience been like for you?
Yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, I can't say enough about the guy. He's such a player's coach. I mean, he's taken so many hours out of his day to make us better. I mean, he's at the field from 5 a.m. till 9 p.m. just working on his craft, and whether it's working out or being here coaching the guys, getting in the cages, or working with the pitchers. I mean, he's pretty much given up all of his time for us to get better. And we do, it's sort of a unique thing. We were always in the baseball classroom prior to practices, and he's teaching us, about the game and about leadership qualities and about how to become better players and people. So he's certainly a unique guy, and he's always trying to get better himself, and he's always trying to make his players better. So I think that's why he's so great, is because he's consistent. He's been consistent all the time he's been at Vanderbilt, and he's always trying to get better. So, we all love him, and he loves us, and that's why he has a special bond with his players.
So moving over to thoughts of transitioning to the professional level, how do you think playing in the SEC has prepared you for this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, I think you can compare some years the SEC to like a double A or a high A team because, especially this year, our pitching staff is bringing out a ton of arms that you won't even see until you make it to double A. So for the hitters, I mean, you're already facing guys that you'll see down the road in professional baseball. And I guess the hitters this year in the SEC aren't necessarily the best it's ever been, but at the same time, you don't see any like holes in lineups where you can kind of relax when you're on the mound. So being able to pitch to guys like that and teams that have a lot of skill and ability to move the ball around and put pressure on you on the mound is unique and something that you'll see probably in double A. So it's all about just, decreasing the gap that you have and the bridge to get to the major leagues. And I think the SEC really does that for you, and it gives you the experience that, you don't have in the low levels of the minor league baseball, and kind of gives you the feel that you're playing in professional baseball already.
What do you think has been your greatest accomplishment so far in your baseball career?
I mean, just being at Vanderbilt has been a pretty big accomplishment just because, certainly when you grow up and you go through high school, you put in all the hours of work and you commit yourself to getting better. Just kind of being here has been a blessing in itself. Getting drafted out of high school was one of those, things that I never thought would happen. So I'd say the combination of getting drafted out of high school and just being here has been probably two of my biggest accomplishments.
Now, I know you were a finalist for the Golden Spikes Award last year, and it's basically like the Heisman of college baseball. Is this something that you want to achieve in your career in college, or do you just have a bigger goal in mind for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, those are just one of the awards that just come with, having a good team. Last year we had a team that was absolutely unbelievable. I mean, we went 26-3 in the SEC, which looking back at it now is just like unheard of because we already have 10 losses in the SEC. So, I got lucky. It was one of those situations where there was, we had a ton of run support. I got a lot of great defense behind me, and I happened to be there at the end of the year, being one of the finalists. But it's certainly a cool award to be mentioned with, and obviously the players who have won that have gone on to be in the big leagues and have great careers. Guys like Buster Posey, Bryce Harper, Mike Zunino. I mean, the list goes on. So it's certainly something that at the end of the year, if you're there, it's exciting, but you don't try to put yourself in that position right away. The biggest thing that all college players want is that last day in Omaha to be holding up the trophy in the national championship and getting in the ring. So that would be unbelievable if we can get there and win that this year.
So do you have any people that are your role models in baseball, or the people you've tried to emulate your game after?
Well, I mean, I grew up watching my dad play. He's always been my biggest role model, and he certainly is off the field. I think on the field, at least growing up, it was like Pedro and Josh Beckett, guys like that who I watched when they played for the Red Sox, and obviously Nolan Ryan, being able to watch footage of him. So I think the biggest, I've been able to talk to a couple of guys that I've gotten close to, guys like Ken Merker, who played for the Braves and was on that 5-game pitching staff with Tom Glavine, John Smoltz, and Greg Maddux. Just being able to get knowledge from those guys and gain experience just from hearing their stories is pretty cool. So I've been blessed to be able to talk to a bunch of people about it, but at the end of the day, I think Nolan Ryan has been my biggest role model.
Now, Tyler, what do you think you can bring to the MLB organization that picks you in June?
Well, I bring tremendous work ethic to the table. I think my leadership qualities since I've gone to Vanderbilt have grown, and I've become a better teammate, being able to be around the guys in the clubhouse and just bring positive energy. And at the same time, I'm going to be a bulldog on the mound. I'm the type of guy who's going to get better every week, every month, every year in the off season, and come back better and stronger. So, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make it to the big league club. And once I'm there, I'm just going to bring a winning mentality and a positive life force to the team, and try to win a World Series once I'm on a team like that, and try to stay there as long as possible and have a long career.
Now, everyone knows how great you are on the ball field, but actually off the field, I watched a video on YouTube the other night, and you came out with a rap dedicated to Boston. It was actually really good. I'm not even going to lie. So should we expect anything else like that coming out in the near future from you?
Yeah, absolutely. I take pride in my rap career. But, down the road, I mean, I love making music. I think that's certainly one of my passions, and I'll continue to do that once I have time and once I can, make a studio in my place or something like that. But it's certainly been cool to be able to make a song, especially a song like Boston Strong that was played at Fenway a couple times. Salto Lamacchia walked out to it, so I think that gave me incentive to make more songs and kind of know I have a little bit of skill when I grab a mic.
All right. Is there any teams that you have an eye on that you really hope to get drafted by, like maybe like your favorite team or a team that you'd really like to see yourself wearing their colors?
Not specifically. I mean, I obviously grew up being a Red Sox fan, so obviously, in the back of your mind, you want to play for your home team to be closer to your family and closer to your friends back home so they can come and watch you. But, no, I mean, my dad was drafted by the Cubs, so it would be cool to be drafted by the same team as my dad and kind of say we both played for the same team and organization at one point. So I think those are really the only two I'd ever have in the back of my head. But other than that, you don't really have a choice in the matter. So whoever picks you, you kind of with that organization, you kind of hope for the best. But it's going to be a cool experience going through it again.
So, moving away from the draft for a second, what is a typical training day like for you? How much do you practice? Like, what do you do to prepare yourself?
Well, it's different every day. So I pitch on Friday. Every Friday night I pitch. Throughout the week it will change. I'll do my heavy lower body lifting on Sunday, my upper body lift on Monday, and my full body on Wednesday. And I'll throw, my bullpens, and I'll play long toss pretty much every day. And then my bullpen will be on Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on how I feel. So we on Saturdays, it's a quick turnaround from the night game. We'll wake up at like 8 a.m., get to the field, play at 2, and we won't leave till about 6. So it's a pretty long day. We put a lot of hours in each week, probably around 50 hours, 50 to 56 hours, depending on whether we're traveling or what time the game is. So it's certainly a lot of time spent at the field, and but that's why we come to school and that's why we play. So it's good that school's finally done, so that we have a little bit of free time to at least get to the field and relax in our rooms and stuff like that.
Now, is there a part of your game that you think you've improved on since being at Vanderbilt, and is there something that you want to try to improve on in the rest of the season to prepare yourself going into the draft?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing coming into Vanderbilt was just being a polished pitcher and being able to improve as much as possible. And obviously last year I struggled with command and control, and I think that's the biggest thing I've improved coming into school is my command. So going forward, I just want to be able to have a consistent mindset and keep that control. Obviously, you can always improve those aspects of your game going forward with each pitch. So I'll continue to work on that going forward, but just having a consistent mindset, learning to control what you can control, and going out and trying to dominate.
All right, man. Well, hey, we really appreciate you taking a few minutes to come on our show, and we wish the best of luck to you and your team this weekend in your weekend series against Georgia. So thanks so much, man. Really appreciate it.
And thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Take care. Thank you.
All right, well, that was the one and only Tyler Beede, star pitcher from Vanderbilt University, projected to go top 5 in the draft this year. And he was also a finalist for the Golden Spikes Award, which is, as I said, the Heisman of college baseball. So it was really cool to have him on, and we obviously wish him the best of luck going forward in his baseball career.
Yeah, it was really cool talking to him. I mean, he's just like us. He
likes the girls. He likes the ladies.
He's a Red Sox fan.
He likes the ladies.
He's from Auburn, Mass. And how far away from
Auburn? From where I'm from, it's about half an hour. But he went to high school at Lawrence Academy in Groton, Massachusetts, which is about 10-15 minutes from.
You should have said something, man.
You should have let him know and be like, hey, maybe he knows people from Acton.
Yeah, according to Facebook, he does.
Well, you should have asked him.
You did your research on Facebook. I like it.
But then again, Facebook, as there's a theory that everyone's within 6 degrees of separation of each other, so you can easily figure out connections like that through Facebook. So. I'm gonna downgrade the connection.
Well, hey, moving forward towards the MLB now. Obviously, we had a guy like Tyler Beede. Gonna probably see him in the MLB someday. But right now, it's been a pretty exciting season so far. There's been a lot of talk about the instant replay stuff like that.
A lot of controversy.
A lot of teams exactly, and a lot of teams really haven't been playing up to their level so far this season. So I just got to ask you guys, what do you think is the biggest storyline so far in the MLB?
I think the biggest storyline has to be the Milwaukee Brewers. They came out strong, unbelievably well.
16-6.
They have Ryan
16-6.
Braun coming back after being suspended for a large period of time, and their pitching staff has looked unbelievably good for this Milwaukee team. That's the biggest surprise for me so far this year.
Well, I want to kind of hit on the head of what happened last night in the Yankees-Red Sox game. Pineda on the mound with the pine. I mean, a couple games ago, there was a substance on his hand.
The Red Sox too.
This is the second.
The Red Sox, he was caught. He was a supposed substance in that game. Didn't get ejected or anything like that. But this time, he actually did get ejected, and he put it on his neck.
So the unwritten rules in baseball, I think, are to just not be obvious about it. And he put it on his neck, and anyone with a blind eye, John Farrell could see it from 100 feet away.
I don't think you could have been more obvious with where he put it. You saw that he had something on his neck. Anyone with 2 eyes could see that he had a substance on his neck. So if you're a pitcher, why not put it somewhere else?
Yeah.
Why not put it like somewhere where you clearly can't see it? A lot of guys put it on their brim.
I don't understand
on their glove.
On their wrist.
I don't understand what he was thinking. He's according to everyone in the know, he's going to be suspended. The minor league suspension for this is at least 10 games. The last time this happened in the major leagues, it was less than 10 games. There was an 8-game suspension. So he's going to miss at least one start. But the story, I think, shouldn't be about the pine tar. I think that the Red Sox put in a good performance, and that's the takeaway from that game.
I think the big thing I take away from that is last time he pitched against the Red Sox, it was his first big start. We said we're going to learn a lot about Michael Pineda in that start, and he was caught with a substance. He didn't get ejected for it, as I said, but in this time he came out, and a lot of people, we saw Andrew Marchand tweeted, or he wrote an article, he said, we're going to see a lot from Michael Pineda in this start tonight, and you got to take a lot away from he did last time against the Red Sox, because if he did that last time and he comes out again this time with a substance, is Michael Pineda really all that he's matched up to be if he's going out there trying to cheat? I don't think he is.
Well, his reasoning in the press conference was he said he wanted to have control and not hit anyone, and he wasn't trying to cheat. And his manager Joe Girardi said that he didn't think he was trying to cheat; he was just trying to be competitive. I mean, there's nothing. You can't use pine tar to try and hit somebody. You're a major league pitcher. You should have control.
Here's the thing. In baseball, I understand the use of pine tar by pitchers. We saw it in the World Series. John Lester on the opposing team for the Red Sox. In all fairness, he had a green substance in his glove. I think most Major League Baseball players and teams are perfectly comfortable with the concept of the pitchers using something to get more control on their pitches, especially when a little bit more control makes it so they don't hit anybody. And have you ever been hit by a 100-mile-per-hour fastball? I can imagine.
It sucks. I haven't been hit by a 100-mile-per-hour fastball.
I was hit by a 55-mile-per-hour fastball in Little League.
That was even hurt in Little League.
Right in between, right on the inside of my thigh.
Exactly. So
it's not fun.
It hurts.
Imagine that in Little League times 50.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I got hit by an 80-mile-per-hour fastball. I couldn't move my elbow for like a day.
Yeah, so I think the pitchers should be able to get a little bit more control. But it's just you can't be obvious about it. Pineda had it on his neck.
But if I could play devil's advocate for a minute.
Okay.
If pitchers can't use pine tar, why should hitters be able to use pine tar on their bats?
Well, it's kind of different because
how is it different?
The pine tar on the bat does not change the power and contact that you make.
But
but
the purpose of it is to give the hitter better control of their bat when they're up to bat.
I'll be perfectly
honest.
honest.
It's more of a safety precaution because it's more of a better grip.
So why not give the pitcher better safety to give more control on the ball?
See, I'm very surprised. I did not see this concept coming out in this right now, and I think you are right to an extent, but the thing about the pine tar with the hitter is the hitter isn't trying to put spin on the bat.
Yeah,
he's just trying to swing the bat.
The pine tar messes with the velocity and the break of baseball.
It completely changes the way the pitches are thrown.
I just thought I'd play devil's advocate, and if the hitters are able to do it, why not the pitchers? I mean, it gives them better control. Why not give the pitchers better control as well? I mean, it could just be something
it's better control in a
that
different.
MLB could look into possibly. I'm not really
It's
sure.
better control in a different manner. It doesn't. Pine tar and bats does not change the game as much as pine tar in a baseball. I mean,
the thing is, pitchers in baseball history everybody cheats in baseball. You have
that's a given.
Gaylord Perry. He threw a spitball. He would spit on the ball when no one was looking, and he would just throw it, and it'd be completely different. And as someone who is a fan of the Red Sox, which I am, I think that I'm actually going to defend Pineda, because if you look in the history of baseball, you don't want these hitters to get hit by the ball, especially when it's in the if it goes to someone's face, that could end their career. Tony Conigliaro in Red Sox history, one of the best young players.
They've been pitching their whole lives. They should know when and how to control the ball. It's not like they're gonna just completely. If they do, most of the time, if they are throwing at guys towards the face, it's probably because they're actually trying to hit them. So
exactly.
I gotta, it's something that, it's a huge topic in the Major League Baseball, and clearly guys have been cheating in baseball for years. So it's not surprising to see, guys still doing it today to try to get an edge. I mean, it's just the game of baseball, and that's just how it is.
Do you guys think Pineda should be suspended? Yes or no?
He will be suspended.
Do you think he should be?
He broke
yes or no?
The rules of the game say that he should be suspended, so he should be suspended.
Okay. The rules say he should be suspended, but I just think a little pine tar isn't going to hurt anybody.
I think this is something MLB should look at.
I think it's a much bigger, people are making it much bigger than it should be.
Yeah.
A much bigger thing than it
Exactly.
should be. It's just a little pine tar, and he's trying to, clearly he's cheating. Yes, it's against the rules, but he shouldn't be doing it. So I got to ask, we talked about big storylines so far in Major League Baseball. Which team do you guys think has been the most surprising so far in Major League Baseball? I mean, you got teams that have gone off to slow starts. You got teams that have gone off to hot starts. I could point out a team right now, the Arizona Diamondbacks. I mean, it's just sad the way they've been playing baseball right now. They are 6-18. They're 8 games back.
The Cubs have more wins.
The Cubs have more wins, but hey, we don't want to talk about the Cubs blowing their
100th anniversary
win at home in the 9th inning.
That was embarrassing.
I mean, that's just typical Cub fashion right there. But when you look at the Arizona Diamondbacks roster, they have a lot of solid core players. You got Martin Prado, solid third baseman right there. And you got a guy like Aaron Hill at second base. He's a guy who was 30 and 100 a few years ago. And you got Paul Goldschmidt, a guy who was in the final. He was a finalist for the National League MVP last year. So I know they have Patrick Corbin on the DL. They have Daniel Hudson on the DL as well. But this team as a whole, I feel like even with the guys they have now, they should be making a lot more noise than they are right now. And they're putting themselves in a huge hole.
They were a team that before the season, everyone was talking about they could make a jump this year.
You can make an argument that they could have, from what they did last year, they could have made an argument that they could possibly go to the World Series.
Exactly. But so another surprise I'd like to point out, we mentioned Milwaukee earlier, now we're mentioning Arizona, isn't a specific team. It's these two divisions in the American League, the East and the Central. They have started out incredibly close. The Central, no one's separated by more than a game and a half. Each team has either 10 or 11 wins. The AL East, it's 10, 11, or the Yankees have 12. It's so even in those two divisions. Is this a sign of parity in the American League for this season in baseball?
I mean, it could be. I mean, it's a little surprising to say the least, but I mean, it's a good argument that you can make that it could possibly be parity in the AL East for Major League.
And does this give Oakland and Texas an advantage when it comes to the wild card because they're getting out to hot starts in the West?
Texas is off to a 14-8 start. They always have a great team. They're led by Ron Washington, so it's not surprising to see the start they've gotten off to. Oakland as well. They're a great team last year. I'm not surprised at the way they're playing baseball right now. I mean, right now, the two most surprising teams in Major League Baseball, I'm surprised the way they've been playing, are the Diamondbacks. And then you look at a team like Cleveland. They haven't gotten off to a very hard start as well. I know they're 10-11, but, I mean, listen, they're a team that was in the top of the Central last year in the American League. So, and they haven't really lost any players. So, I mean, it's a little surprising to see the way they've been playing baseball right now.
I got a little surprised on the year. Do you guys remember this second baseman who used to play for the Yankees?
Robbie Cano.
Yeah. What?
Don't you know?
Yeah.
Robbie Cano.
I mean, what happened
8
there?
or 13.
He went to Seattle.
Yeah, and he's not doing much up there in the Pacific Northwest.
Listen, he's getting a lot of money, but the team's not winning.
He has. Well,
take a look at the Yankees now; they're in first place.
He hit his first home run of the season, like 3 games ago. I mean,
hey, he hasn't been playing.
Yeah, I mean, he moved from Yankee Stadium with the short porch in Great Central Field.
And Seattle is Safeco Field is a very, very big pitcher's park. So
I could see how it's tough for him, but he's getting that lucrative contract, and he's not putting up the performance that goes along with
280, 1 home run, and 8 RBIs so far this season.
Yeah, I mean that's
Those
For a guy who's earning that much money and you're hitting 280. I mean 280. It's not too bad, but 1 home run, 8 RBIs.
Here's
for the
thing,
guy who's supposed to be like the power of the Seattle Mariners lineup.
And you have some guys who get on base ahead of him. Who you got a guy like Kyle Seager. You know, he's a guy that gets on base. He could Robbie Cano could drive him in.
Here's the thing about Seattle is they didn't sign him for his production to win games. They signed him to put fans in the seats. Because they
disagree.
haven't done enough around him to make the team good enough to
No, see, I
compete in the
disagree
division.
because they've drafted a lot of guys that come up in the minor leagues. Danny Holtzen, he was a guy. He's a very good pitcher in the minor leagues. He was a very highly touted guy coming out of Virginia, out of college. So I feel like they have some core guys. They have some solid
they have
players.
Felix Hernandez.
They have Felix Hernandez.
They have some young guys that can really, in the next couple of years.
That's what Seattle always is, year in, year out. It's a
It
bunch
hasn't
of
been like
young
this.
guys.
It hasn't been like this. You haven't had a guy like Danny Holtzen come up for a while. You haven't had a guy like Danny Holtzen with this much hype for the Seattle Mariners. And let's be honest, they don't have a very terrible minor league farm system because they've been so bad for how long?
A while.
They've been bad for years. So they've continuously gotten top 5 draft picks. So those guys are going to develop, and I feel like those guys could make an impact, not maybe this year, but maybe in the next coming years for Seattle.
But we've been saying that for 10 years. They always have one star and a bunch of guys who come up and disappoint. They had Ichiro for years, and they always had, we have top draft picks. They'll come up and they'll be good, and they never pull through for them. Now that Ichiro's too old and went to the Yankees, they signed Robinson Cano, and it's the exact same situation.
Another name I completely forgot, Taijuan Walker. He's number 1 in their farm system right now. This guy can throw straight up gas. He was he was drafted first round supplemental pick, 43rd by the Seattle Mariners in 2010. So he's also a guy who can come up. So you look at their pitching rotation.
They have a solid pitching rotation. They just don't have anyone to get on base and score runs. I mean, their pitching staff can't do everything. I mean,
that's true. But
they don't have any run production.
If you have Hernandez, Walker, and a guy like Holtzen, a top 3, that could be a solid pitching rotation. I'm not saying, it's going to win you a World Series or get you into the playoffs, but you do need hitters, as you guys mentioned. Big hitting is a big key as well, along with pitching. If you don't have that, you're not going to do much, especially in the very tough AL West. So when you got Los Angeles, Oakland, and Texas, who are always going to be fighting for top spots in that division.
I mean, the Red Sox are surprising me too. We're back, but we talked about them last show, so there's not really any point to hit on that. But let's transition. We interviewed Tyler Beede. He was an SEC pitcher
for Vanderbilt.
I kind of want to stay in the.
I want to go back to the SEC.
I want to go back to the SEC really quick. Something I read this online. Now I want to hear what your guys' opinion are.
All right.
Missouri basketball coach Frank Haith. You guys know who he is, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Do you know that he departed Missouri and you know where he went? He resigned at Missouri and he signed with another school.
He went to TCU, right?
No,
he didn't go to TCU.
He went to Frank Haith went to Tulsa.
Yeah, he went to Tulsa. Yeah.
After they had the 2 seed getting upset by Norfolk State, all of that stuff, he went to Tulsa.
He's a very good coach.
Yeah, he's a great coach. And
wasn't it 2 years ago maybe?
Yeah,
they were
one
of the top teams in college basketball.
They had Kim English. They had all
then
these.
They had that abrupt first round.
Lost to Norfolk State. Yeah,
Yep.
And then another SEC coach, Quenzo Martin, he departed from Tennessee, who he brought to the Sweet 16 this year, to Cal. I mean, Cal, they've always been an okay program. Just they haven't been good. They haven't been
SEC,
great.
Though.
They've always. It's not the SEC. It's the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is okay, but California out there is not that good. So what my question is how come? I mean, this isn't the first time, but in the last couple of years, Tubby Smith
from Kentucky.
left Kentucky to go to Minnesota.
Right.
Minnesota at the time wasn't as good of a basketball program as they were. What is going on? Why are the Southeast have always been considered? They've been considered kind of like racial.
No, I hear where you're coming from.
They're considered racial. Is there something going on? What making all of these African American coaches leave the SEC?
Well, I think it's dangerous to say there is something going on, but I'd point out I'm going to take the point of view of the SEC, which is this is very dangerous for this whole conference, for the schools that are members in this conference, for this to be happening, because you don't even want this question to be asked by anybody. You don't want the perception
in this day and age, you
like
don't
this.
want your school to be considered, or your program,
Yeah.
and even your school, because
It's not even the school. It's more likely the conference.
Especially with the history, the recent history within the last 50 years of what happened in the SEC years ago, with no black players, no black coaches, and now they're trying to figure it out, but all the coaches are leaving because of something. Why are they leaving? This could be just independent incidences, or it could be a pattern.
But here's the thing: you're not gonna leave an SEC school that's paying you a lot more than a school like
for
Cal
Minnesota
would.
or
For
Tulsa.
Minnesota, Tulsa, Cal. I mean, those are very high level Division I schools, but they're not SEC. So the way I look at this is there could be a whole situation of a lot of African American coaches leaving the SEC. It's been something that you talk about. You saw Gwenzo Martin; he left Tennessee. So I mean,
he had a phenomenal year at Tennessee. He has some players returning, and he went out to Cal. I mean,
he made the tournament.
Cal has some decent players out there. I mean, Jabari Bird is a really great player. He's a young kid, but I don't see him staying much longer.
The thing is, you're not going to get players at Tulsa that you would get at Tennessee or Missouri.
I mean,
you're not going to get SEC style players at Tulsa.
Exactly,
and that's
Tennessee
the bottom line. You're not going to get top 100 recruits going to Tulsa.
Exactly. Tennessee has a tradition of basketball success. Tulsa does not. They're just not at the same level.
No, Tulsa. I only see the reason Tulsa made it to the NCAA tournament last year and had a successful year is because Danny Manning was their coach. Danny Manning, All-American at Kansas, one of the great to ever play at Kansas, which is one of the most storied franchise programs in college basketball history.
Right.
And he left Tulsa. He went to Wake Forest. I mean, who wouldn't want to go from Tulsa to Wake Forest?
And I think you can relate this to even other professional. You can relate it to professional sports as well. You had an issue a few years ago where a lot of African American coaches in the NFL, they were getting fired from their jobs and getting hired. And who were they replaced by? White coaches. I mean,
I think
you look at Lovie Smith. Lovie Smith, they had a good team that year, and they fired him for what? You didn't have any reason to fire him.
I think this overall, we need to be very careful about talking about this, because there's situations
I
like
agree.
the Dallas Cowboys. They were going to hire a new coach, and their owner Jerry Jones requested the NFL make it so he didn't have to look at other coaches at all, and the NFL said, no, you need to at least interview a black coach, even though he wanted to just hire Jason Garrett at the time. There's issues both ways, because the proactive solutions are also causing issues as well in these sports.
And at the start of the 2013 NFL season, there were no African American head coaches in the NFL.
Yeah, that's
a little surprising. And
Which year?
2013.
I thought Mike Tomlin for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh yeah, Mike Tomlin. Was there anyone else though? I know Lovie Smith got fired.
I'm trying to think.
Mike Tomlin, I believe he's
really
the only.
He's the only one.
He was the only one. I should rephrase. There were no black coaches hired by any teams looking for the NFL. You had Mike Tomlin. He's a great coach, but I mean, it's just sad the fact that when you're going about looking for coaches, not only in college basketball but in professional sports as well, the fact that you have to say, hey, we have to look for an African American or minority coach.
Exactly, but
I think it's sad that they're doing that, and you just got to look at coaches overall as a whole. Lovie Smith is a great coach. He did a great job in Chicago. And I'm glad he's getting an opportunity in Tampa Bay now. But I mean, it's sad that we have to look at coaches and say, oh, we have to look at an African American coach.
Well, that's
a
rule.
Coach.
That's a rule. The Rooney Rule. It requires National Football League teams to interview minority candidates for head coaching and senior football operations job. It's kind of like affirmative action. Like
it's kind of sad though. You want to think about it. I mean, everyone should be treated equally.
Yeah,
everyone should be looked at equally, no matter what the color of your skin is. You should be looked at by your resume and the way you've coached. Or for any job, you should be looked at the way you've coached or performed in any previous job that you've been at.
I agree with you.
No matter what the color of your skin is.
100% agree with you, but just playing devil's advocate for a second. If this rule is not in existence, do you think that would... We're talking about how coaches are leaving the SEC.
Right.
Black coaches are leaving the SEC for lower jobs. Shouldn't there be some perception... it's dangerous for the organization that sets this rule, the NFL or the NCAA or the SEC, if they don't look at black coaches, because the perception of people outside the organizations is that there could be accusations of racism.
I get what you're saying, but the fact that if you're a team and you have to go about your whole hiring process and think, oh, we have to look at a minority coach now. Why not just look at guys overall as a whole? That's what I'm trying to say. Why not look at guys overall as a whole? Why do we need to have a rule about this? It shouldn't even be a rule. It's kind of sad that it's a rule. You should look at guys overall as a whole and say, you look at a guy like Lovie Smith, great coach. He should clearly be looked at hiring positions. You got plenty of other coaches as well.
It shouldn't be because of his skin color or his race or because of any rule.
It should be because what he's done in his past previous coaching. He
brought the Chicago Bears to the Super Bowl. Why are we looking at anything besides his job performance?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to this SEC basketball thing. 2 years ago, Trent Johnson, he was the coach at LSU. He got the job at LSU after a phenomenal couple years at Stanford. And after a couple seasons, he wasn't doing well, and nothing really happened. And next thing you know, he's at TCU, and he bombed out there. He just kind of fell off the face of the earth after he didn't have really good seasons at LSU. I mean, Louisiana is like the deep South.
Yeah, right? He went to TCU after that, which is also Texas.
Texas Christian. I mean, they're all very deep South college basketball teams. But it's just kind of weird to me about how everything is just going about and how these great coaches, Quenzo Martin, Frank Haith, they just jumped ship this year. A couple years ago, Tubby Smith. Tubby Smith is one of the greatest coaches to ever coach in basketball. He's one of the greatest, and he just kind of left Kentucky abruptly to go to Minnesota.
It's surprising. Minnesota, not very popular
Minnesota,
basketball.
Shout out to Tom Dillon. He's a big Minnesota Golden Gophers fan.
Why shout out?
Who's Tom Dillon?
He's his friend. That is it. Why?
I gotta ask you guys this. How about Jason Garrett? 3 seasons in a row, the Cowboys have been 8-8. Have I heard once that the Cowboys have been looking at them trying to replace Jason Garrett?
No, but is that because of his skin color, or is that because Jerry Jones made him the hand?
Jerry Jones is a very
selection after Wade Phillips,
arrogant man,
and wanted
past 4 years for the Cowboys, 6-10, 8-8, 8-8, and 8-8.
Yeah, and they were one game from the playoffs every single year.
And that's because the NFC East is always tight, and it's not the strongest division.
Exactly.
But the Cowboys, they haven't been doing much. Why not look at trying to replace him?
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know.
I agree.
I have no argument against that. It's just the way the world is.
I mean, it's
just the way the world is.
Whatever an owner wants to do with his team, let him do. It's his fault. Jerry Jones kind of ruined the Cowboys.
I agree.
I'm not just. I don't know. I don't know how you can be satisfied going literally 8-8 every year.
Listen, that's just the way the world is. But right now,
we're gonna take this to a happier topic, right?
To a much happier topic as well. It's an important topic. We got to point that out. But we're gonna go over to Salty and his top 5.
Okay, so we went on a bit of a low tone right there with that topic, but we're gonna bring it back up with my top 5. Let's go. Top 5, and this was really tough for me to figure out, but I'm going with the top 5 guilty pleasure songs. Okay, these are the songs that you listen to, that you love, that everybody loves, but you're not going to tell anybody that you love them. All right?
Yeah.
So it was a tough list to come up with. At number 5, and this is going to show to you how tough this list was to make based off the number 5 song. Number 5, Stacy's Mom by Fountains of Wayne.
Great song.
It is a fantastic song. Everybody in our generation, our college-age generation, knows that song.
I still love that song.
That was my jam in high school. That was my jam.
The one-hit wonder of the Fountains of Wayne.
That was a great music video, too. Great music video.
Moving to number 4, we're going to go with One Direction, 1D, with the song What Makes You Beautiful.
No, I'm not going to lie. I'm a big One Direction fan.
I like One Direction as well.
That's what makes you beautiful.
Hey, Salt, where am I going? Where am I going in August?
Okay, Jonah is going to a One Direction concert, which I don't know why he's bragging about because it's One Direction and he is a male.
Hey. You know what? It's going to be a fun time.
Moving on to number 3. we're going to go to High School Musical, the Disney
Classic.
High School Musical.
Classic movie.
Breaking Free, the song from the beginning of the movie, in which Troy sings with Vanessa Hudgens' character.
Total babe. Total babe.
Breaking Free at the
Total babe.
beginning of the movie. Now,
Vanessa Hudgens,
number 2, a song that is near and dear to my heart.
Yeah. what
A
is
song that I have hummed. I've heard people hummed, and then they won't talk about it.
that? What?
1,000 Miles by Vanessa Carlton. A fantastic song, 1,000 Miles. And saving the best for last, number
I know
one,
it's coming.
the greatest classic number 1 guilty pleasure song ever, Cyndi Lauper's Girls Just Wanna Have Fun.
Oh.
How's that go, Salty?
Girls, they wanna have fun. Oh, girls just wanna have do-do-do-do, do-do-do. That's
Oh
me
my gosh.
right there.
Oh,
That's
wow.
my singing ability at its
Hey,
I'm not
finest.
gonna lie. I think
Salty,
that,
I think you have the voice like the combination between Fergie and Jesus.
I think that, believe it or not,
Yes.
I've been told that before.
Really? So I'm not
Yes.
the only, okay.
You're not the only
I'm,
one.
I'm
I don't know
not
who-
surprised. I'm not
the
the only
Golden
one.
I don't know who was
Pipes
telling you
are-
that, but
The Golden
That's-
Pipes. Flex them.
I
Flexing.
just flexed my golden
Flex the golden
pipes.
pipes.
That's all I'm gonna do for today.
Well,
That's my top
What-
5. So
Yeah.
just saying, tune in next
Yeah.
time. We'll have something else for the top
yeah,
5.
next time you will tune in. Big thanks to Tyler Beede coming on the show, star pitcher from Vanderbilt. Always great to have them on the show. Guests,
I agree.
fantastic.
So, and also a big shout out to all our guests that we've had so far this year. We've had a lot of great guests: Carl Ravitch, Chris McCullough, Andrew Marchand.
And also, we want to give a big shout out to
oh, yeah.
Jason Wexler. He filled in today.
man.
Filled in
Big
today.
Wex.
For,
Big Wex,
Big
Jason
Wex flexing in
Wexler.
there, baby. I love it.
Wexler. He's coming on today. He helped us out.
Producing the show
Yeah, he
for
helped
the
out.
day.
He did a
It
great
was
job.
great having him on.
He did a phenomenal job.
He has to head off to class though. Matt has to pick his classes
I have to
for
register
next
for
semester.
classes, which is not going to be fun.
Yeah, so
That's not going to be fun.
we're gonna
I've
wrap
heard
this
they're
up.
all filled
wrap
up.
this up right here, baby.
Wrap this
it
up. This is the SE16 podcast. Tune in next week for our last episode of the year. So this is getting sad, guys, but this is the SE16 podcast.